Hello, and thank you to everyone tuning in to today's episode of the Hirewell Update. I'm your host, Ryan Brown, Vice President of our Corporate Functions team, and this is my co-host.
I'm Emily Goor, Director on our go-to-market recruiting team.
Before we kick off the show, you can find all of our content at talentinsights.hirewell.com, or if you'd like to learn more about Hirewell, our service offerings, check out our website, www.hirewell.com. Hey there, Em. It's the first episode of 2025. Can you believe it?
I mean, I can believe it, given how busy we've been. We've missed you all watching. Sorry, it's been a minute. It's been, somebody said to me today, like, oh, it's been quite the day. I'm like, it's been quite the January.
It's been something.
So I'm really excited to be finally sitting down with you for our first show of the year.
I know. Like you said, it's been a busy start to the quarter, which is super exciting. We love a busy January, that is for sure. But we're excited to get back to some normalcy with the Hirewell update. So really excited about today's show. And to kick things off this year, we really just want to talk about what the fast growing roles are across various industries. I saw an article recently on LinkedIn that was titled Jobs on the Rise, which basically highlighted a list of the fastest growing roles across different industries in this upcoming year. So it's clear that some sectors are not only surviving what has been more of the current market, but they're thriving in it too.
Thriving. I think, okay, let's dive deeper into some of these roles. I know we're talking about the rise of AI engineers. Yeah. I feel like we're talking about this as a company today, like the resurgence travel advisors also, and even some sustainability specialists. There's a lot to unpack though. So I guess let's start to get into it.
Let's get into it. And obviously starting with one of the biggest trends, AI. Like you said, this is something we actually talked about today in a leadership meeting internally here at Hirewell, but it's absolutely no surprise that artificial intelligence is changing the way that we work. And the next few roles are basically all about that. So first up, artificial intelligence engineers, take it away.
Yeah. So AI engineers basically design, develop, implement AI models and algorithms. These people are basically building the tools that optimize like processes and solve complex problems. I think some of the most common skills for this role are things like large language models, natural language processing, and PyTorch. I know, hopefully I got all that right. I know sometimes you and I talk tech and we're a little bit, fish out of water, if you will. But yeah, that's what I do for you.
Absolutely. Well, it's exciting to hear all of this stuff. And obviously the demand is massive for these types of engineers. I mean, specifically too in tech hubs, thinking San Francisco, New York, and even Boston. And remote work and flexibility and all of that is still a hot topic. There's this push to go back into the office, but these roles in particular offering like 35% of these are fully remote, which is exciting. 25% are hybrid, which is huge in terms of today's workforce with that push to return back to the office.
Yeah. And I think while we're on the subject of AI too, I know we'll, stay on that subject for a second, but the demand, just to keep talking about AI consultants also, like these professionals kind of help organizations adopt and integrate AI like that. Like you said, everyone's talking about AI. So how are organizations using it and integrating it to kind of meet their own business goals?
Right.
I think it's a role that requires a bit more experience, probably about like 4.5 years of prior work, and still a strong technical foundation, like in things like Python and prompt engineering.
Exactly. And like AI engineers, I think the demand for AI consultants is definitely high in places like we mentioned, San Francisco, New York, those major tech hubs. Flexibility is also a really big factor when it comes to the AI consultants. Probably 40% of those are more hybrid. So it's clear that businesses are looking to be in AI to stay competitive. So this is really opening up a lot of really exciting opportunities for professionals with the right skill sets, of course. Like you mentioned, having, prior work experience is definitely needed.
Yeah. And like, we're not going to stop talking about AI this year. Like you said, we had that leadership meeting today where we're kind of just continuing to discuss trends, and like, that's where money and investments are going right now. Everyone is investing in AI. So yes, we're going to keep talking about that all year long, but that's
Yeah, I'm
That's
excited to see what else comes from it over the next year. We're obviously focusing a ton on more of the technical aspects of AI, but what is this going to do to the job market as a whole? I'm interested to see.
we'll keep talking about it for
I'm
sure.
sure
But I
will.
guess for now we'll shift gears a bit.
Mhm.
I actually outside of tech. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. I think this is an interesting area, but one that's sort of making a comeback, I think a pretty big comeback
Mhm.
is travel advisors.
Mhm.
I know it's not something we talk about super often, so kind
Yeah.
of, a little different for us, but I think we all know travel's been through some crazy times in the past few years. But now that things are really getting back to normal, people are looking to experts to help them plan dream vacations. I
Mhm.
know, like, I don't do it myself whenever I get to travel.
Mm-mm, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm actually, funny enough, this is like really good timing. I'm in the middle of starting to plan my honeymoon. We're going to be using a travel advisor to get that done, which is exciting. So it's great to see that that's back on the rise. And these folks are booking everything from your flights to accommodations to activities. It's taking everything off of your plate when it comes to all things travel. But it's interesting the skills that are needed in this area. So it's not just travel planning, but it's also things like social media marketing. And some of the really exciting things that I found in this article was that 80% of travel advisors are women, and most of them are actually in cities like New York and Los Angeles. So shout out to you, I'm on the West Coast there.
Woo, woo. I love that, obviously. And if you're wondering about flexibility, about 27% of travel advisors work remotely. So there's definitely room for a bit of freedom in how you do the job. I think it's fun too. My best friend's actually like a travel advisor on the side. I feel like
Mhm.
I know a few people who have kind of taken that on as a side hustle.
Yep, side hustle.
I know she does a lot of like social media marketing too. You can follow the Cabo consultant on Instagram.
Oh, I
But
love that
um,
plug.
yeah, no, I think it's great. You'll keep us posted on your honeymoon planning too. But glad
Um,
glad you have some support there.
Yes, I sure will, for sure. One of the roles that's making a comeback, though, and this is definitely something we saw several years ago, is the need for physical therapists. So, with a growing need just in healthcare services in general, especially post pandemic, I don't know if we're ever going to stop saying that, but post pandemic, physical therapists are definitely in high demand.
Yeah, I know you've been involved in some projects around
I
physical
have,
therapy in the past at Hirewell. I
absolutely.
think physical therapists are mainly in high demand in some major cities like New York, Chicago.
Mhm.
This role has pretty minimal remote flexibility, not
It does.
surprising.
Yep. No,
Like
it's better
almost
to be in
none.
person, I guess, for that.
Yeah, it's as you know, it's a hands-on, very people-focused job. It it makes sense, not remote flexibility. You're on site, you're hands-on. Of course, the gender breakdown here is kind of interesting too.
Mhm.
We learned that like 64% of physical therapists are female.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. So, chugging right along here, another one of the big roles that we're expected to see some growth in this upcoming year is sustainability specialist or environmental analyst. So, interchangeable in terms of titling there. Now, these are professionals that are working across a variety of industries to analyze an organization's particular environmental and social impact. So, helping to design things like strategies that just, aid with mitigating harm and promoting overall sustainability for organizations.
Yeah, exactly. And I think these roles are popping up everywhere, especially in again, kind of some major cities like New York and Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Sustainability's a top of mind like topic for so many businesses these days. So if you're passionate about the environment, this could be a great opportunity. I know we actually ourselves have a few clients in the climate tech space. I know a
Mhm.
couple projects I'm working on the sales side right now. A lot of what you just mentioned in terms of environmental and social impact. And even like, I know a lot of regulations coming in the US and even coming out of the EU for people to be in regulation with certain sustainability laws and things of that nature. Definitely a pretty common type of tech that we're seeing as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and one of the conversations we had internally today was like the forming of AI and environmental organizations, or, those that are kind of touching that same space. So again, curious to see like what that transformation will be later in the year in terms of the market, how AI is also aiding these industries, aiding these
Yep.
particular roles. I think there's going to be a lot of crossover here. But, just taking a look back at everything we mentioned today, there's a lot of exciting changes, a lot to digest. It's nice nice to see things coming back around, like the tech space. This is something that was a little bit slower over the past couple of years. So really exciting to see a lot of that change. And if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that the future of work is rapidly changing. And it's also creating a ton of new opportunities, which is great. So I think, the key to just adapting to these shifts is finding ways to stay ahead of the curve, staying flexible, and staying open.
I feel like sometimes we're a broken record. I feel like we always talk about flexibility and things of that nature, but absolutely, I think it's about like upskilling and just staying open to new industries also. Like whether it's tech, healthcare, sustainability, I know we talked about, like there's a world of opportunities out there. So I don't know, we hope we hope this gives you guys some insight just into what's coming next and how you might navigate these changes, even if you're in your own career, if you're watching as a candidate. I know, we'll kind of start discussing just as we're getting, like, January's almost over, which is crazy.
Wild.
But we'll kind of start getting into some of the trends that we're seeing also, like more specifically in our areas and go-to-market recruiting and, corporate functions, HR, finance and accounting recruiting. So excited to kind of keep diving deeper.
Yeah, I am too. But, I'm excited to hear from our viewers, from folks that are watching, what's happening in your field. What are some of the trends that you're seeing? If you've heard of any new roles that are coming up this year, the resurgence of some roles that you previously saw, we'd love to hear from you. So let us know in the comments what you're seeing.
Yeah, definitely drop a comment. Maybe even you'll give us inspiration for our next show.
Absolutely. Believe it or not, we read all the comments.
Yeah. Well, there's usually not like too many to go through. So it's like, it's a pretty easy ask, but we do.
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
Well, amazing. I don't have much else today. What about you?
I don't have much else either, except it's been great to get back into the Hirewell update seat with you. I'm excited. I don't even know how many years we've been doing this at this point, but I love that we have a whole new season to look forward to. Excited to get back into our regular cadence on this again.
We are. Thanks for your patience, y'all, but we're back. Happy 2025. For this week, that's it. That's a wrap on this week's episode of the Hirewell Update. Thank you all so much for joining us. As a reminder, you can find all of our content at talentinsights.hirewell.com. Or if you'd like to learn more about Hirewell and our service offerings, check out our website. It's www.hirewell.com. Thanks again for joining, and we hope you tune in next time.
See you then.